Warning! Kinda Murdery contains adult themes, explicit language, and descriptions of violence. It is not suitable for anyone, and we recommend you stop listening now.
True crime with a dash of the paranormal, the garish, the strange, and the darkly comic. I'm Zevon Odelberg, host of Kinda Murdery, a podcast that's about more than just murder. It's my very own pocket dimension, home to a curated collection of bizarre and compelling stories. The unsolved, the unsettling, and the unbelievable. I cover it all, just so long as it's kinda murdery. Hey everybody, thank you for being here. Like it says in the intro, I am Zevon Odelberg, and this is Kinda Murdery. Got a very special episode of Kinda Murdery today. I am here with my daughter, Daisy. Hey Daisy, how you doing?
What is upwards, y'all? It's your boy Daisy. I'm pretty good.
So Daisy and her mom just got back from scout camp in Lake Arrowhead, and Margarita came home with COVID. So she is sequestering right now. Daisy and I are masked up and decided to do a podcast together. Is that why you said you're good, sort of? Because, like, everybody seems to have COVID?
Sure.
Yeah. So I decided that in the theme of Daisy having just gone to camp for a week, that today we would tell kinda murdery campfire stories. And additionally, Daisy was my researcher for this episode. She picked the stories, and you found them on Reddit, is that right?
Yes. We have credits, don't worry.
Nice. Reddit credits.
Stop helping unhappy.
So, Daisy, before we jump into the camp stories, the kinda murdery camp stories, how was camp? What did you do at camp?
Oh, camp was great, man. I got all 5 merit badges that I was trying to get. I got first aid, welding, basketry, sculpture, and reptile and amphibian study.
Wow, that is pretty badass. Nice job. Welding. I saw that video of you welding. You had the welding mask and everything. You look like a Darth Vader, basically. How was that? Was it fun? Was it exciting? How'd you feel about it?
It was fun. It just took a while to get to, and it wasn't very hard.
You would have wanted it to be harder? It didn't feel like so.
I don't know. We just didn't do a lot of welding. We just did, like, small bits of welding.
But did it feel, like, dangerous? Did it feel exciting in that way?
Yeah, it did.
All right. I got to learn how to ask questions, because you're not supposed to ask, like, yes or no questions, because then people just say yes or no. I'm supposed to be like, how did it feel? And how did that make you feel?
What?
The welding, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Basketry was the best, man.
Why was basketry the best?
Because I made baskets. It was, like, fun. And also, reptile and amphibian study was great because after we did, like, maybe 20 minutes of just, like, observing random reptiles,
That noise you hear in the background is my bearded dragon, Lord Beardamus,
we have a reptile
freaking out against the window for no good reason. All right, bro, get out of here. We're recording a podcast. So you were saying about basket weaving.
Reptile and amphibian study. After we did, like, maybe 20 minutes of just, like, learning about random reptiles and amphibians, we listened to, like, 20 minutes of random frogs croaking, which was amazing and totally educational.
So what's the difference in your mind between a random frog and, like, a specific, I don't know, celebrity frog? Like, what made the frogs random?
Well, I mean that they were just a bunch of frogs. It didn't feel very important, but...
So it wasn't like Kermit the Frog, in other words.
No.
Because besides Kermit, as far as I know, all the other frogs are just a bunch of frogs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to our campfire stories. We have 4 short stories today. They are called, I should say, I titled these, but they were from Reddit. So this one had no title. It was from a user named Soon to Be Stardust, and I called it Jack the Finger Ripper.
Hey, I'm doing this one.
Yeah, you're going to do it. You're doing it.
I thought we were not doing it.
Oh, okay. All right, so the first story I have up today, it's from Reddit, from a user named My AC is Going Crazy and Driving Me Crazy. Do 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 do. All right. So, our first story today, it's from Reddit, from a user about 3 years ago, I guess, named Shadow125. I titled it, The Scariest Thing I Ever Heard When I Was 7 years old. So, here we go. Let's check this out. I did. I put the titles on. There were no titles on any of them. Okay. So it's from Reddit, from a user named Shadow125 about 3 years ago. The story had no title, so I stuck a title on it, and I called it The Scariest Thing I Ever Heard When I Was 7. It's told from a first-person perspective, so here we go. Just picture me as 7 years old.
As a distraught young boy.
Which I certainly was distraught and young when I was young and distraught.
In great turmoil, just hearing these scary camp stories, man.
Please join Daisy and me as we uncover what truths we can and solve what mysteries we may. Kinda Murderies, Campfire Stories with Daisy starts now. Our first story is from a Reddit user named Soon to Be Stardust.
And it is called, we named it, Jack the Finger Ripper. It used to be Jack the Ripper, but we decided...
That didn't sound right.
We just didn't use it, you know? Yeah. It didn't have as much of a ring to it. So anyways...
Like a ring on the finger type of ring? Or...
Yeah. Okay, so... There was the body of a fairly large person once found in the woods. They were quickly killed, and there was nothing extremely off about the scene, except he had half of his pointer, ring, and pinky finger all missing from his left hand.
That's crazy.
No one could find the missing fingers, and they never found any clues. A few weeks later, another body was found. Another man who was a bit smaller than the previous guy. Same situation, quickly killed, and 3 fingers missing all from the left hand. And still no clues. A few more weeks went by, and this time it was a woman who was found.
A woman now? Jeez.
Smaller than the second guy found. Same fingers missing from the same hand. This went on for a while, with the victims getting smaller and smaller until it was kids' bodies being found.
Dude, this is horrible. This is the story you chose? Jeez, now they're murdering children? Alright, continue.
It's so relatable, though.
I know, right?
When you said, I know, right? Okay. One teenager's body, though, only had the ring finger and pinky removed. The police found a fingerprint at this crime scene, and they found it matched the prints from a theft record from the previous victim. The guy telling the story then told the kids that the killer was searching to replace his fingers, and so far, he had yet to see if the fingers of children their age would fit. He then took off his glove, showing he had a scarred pointer finger, and was missing half his ring and pinky finger.
No, so the guy telling the story, like, is the killer right now, and you're a kid around the campfire being like, holy moly.
And then lunged at the kids while screaming. He later told the kids he lost the 2 in a work accident, and doctors were able to save his very mangled pointer finger. He told this story every year at camp.
Oh my god, that would freak me out so bad, like in the firelight, when he rips off the glove and he's just like, take a look at this. All right, good one, honey. Good one. Yeah. That was Jack the Finger Ripper from Reddit user Soon to Be Stardust.
No, man, I need more sparkling water. I'm gonna explode it on your face, swear.
Okay. Noise. Nothing like a little sparkling wad break in the middle of the podcast.
Getting hot and happy, yeah, oh my eye. Oh man, that was good, man.
So, all right. So our next story is from a Reddit user named Birds with Teeth, and it's called The Golden Arm, or as the Reddit user puts it, at least the version my mom tells. So, can you chill out on the drinking while I'm reading the story, please?
Do you hear it?
The microphone hears like everything.
It's a little bit funny.
It is, but it would be way funnier if it was a bit... Go ahead, drink the drink, I guess. Just slurp it on down. I guess I can just, like, say that stuff on the... We can just leave it in. Just take your big old slurps. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Just move on.
The Golden Arm, or at least the version my mom tells. Do we have birds now? Like, seriously, we have been contending with so many sounds trying to make this podcast. We have a creaky AC. We have airplanes flying overhead. I've got a water fountain that doesn't have enough water in it. I had my lizard freaking out, scrabbling against the window. And now there's like pretty
Bro's
bluebirds.
using hand movements on a no video podcast.
It's just how I
He's
talk.
like pointing places. It's ridiculous.
I'm a quarter Italian. If you tie our hands behind our back, we can't talk.
That's fair.
But anyway, and now after dealing with all those obnoxious sounds, we also have a beautiful little bluebird like cheeping in the window. Do you hear that cheeping sound?
You probably don't. You're being weird right now. Move on. Scream.
They definitely do. I should close that window. All right, fine.
It's peaceful.
The man with the golden arm, not the man.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Backwards. The golden arm. A fellow is looking to be married to one of the rich merchant's daughters to gain the fortune that would come to her. Unfortunately, the merchant had an unmarried daughter still.
Fortunately.
Oh, right.
Start over. You said come.
All right, so this guy is looking to get married to a rich merchant's daughter because he wants to gain the fortune that he would get as a dowry or from being married to the daughter. So, fortunately for him, the merchant had an unmarried daughter still had a daughter who hadn't been married. So there was an opportunity here for the fellow. So the fellow begins to court the daughter. The first thing he notices is that she had a solid gold right arm. She apparently lost her arm in a childhood accident, and her father had the golden arm forged for her. Seeing this as a sign of the extreme wealth that the father had, the man continued courting the woman, making her believe he truly loved her, and wasn't just in it for her father's money. In turn, she fell deeply in love with him. They get married, the fellow's given his riches along with part of the merchant business that his father-in-law owned, and he's getting richer and richer. However, he soon realizes that his wife is now of no real use. So he ignored her.
Likely story.
Yeah. Gave her gifts and had dinner with her, but the love he said he had felt had disappeared.
Damn! Skill issue.
Angry and heartbroken, the daughter accused him of marrying her for her money, at which he states boldly, of course. He's like, well, duh, honey. So the daughter was furious, screaming about how she was going to go tell her father what a scoundrel he truly was, and their riches would be stripped away from them along with his job. This angered the fellow. After all, he worked so hard to get here, by which he means he married the girl. So he wasn't going to let her take it away. So he pushes her down the cellar stairs and let her snap her neck on the stone.
Damn, she died? What a skill issue.
Damn. He pleaded heartbroken to the grief-stricken father losing his most favorite daughter. The fellow's riches intact. It's like free association poetry / terrifying story. The fellow and the family hold a funeral for the daughter, and they weep and they cry. When the man was alone with only himself and his dead wife, he opened the casket and pulled out a saw, for she did not need her golden arm in the grave.
Yeah.
That is ice cold. Cold-blooded.
Would you not, though?
3.
That's, like, her biggest part, like...
Well, you would start with, would I not... First of all, I would not marry for money. Secondly, I would not marry someone I didn't love. And thirdly, I wouldn't murder them to keep my job. But then fourthly, yes, I'd probably take the golden arm.
Exactly.
All right, so... For she did not need her golden arm in the grave. That night, he slept with the arm under his pillow, not wanting even the servants to see it before he melted into gold bars. He slept soundly until a voice like the wind asks,
"Where's my golden arm?"
Slow and far away, the voice echoed through the sleepy house, so quiet he thought it was just a draft, until the voice came again, closer and louder this time, as if just down the hall.
Where's my golden arm?
That's so funny. Sitting up, the fellow looked around fearfully, too scared to do anything, as he hears again, much closer this time.
Where's my golden arm?
He felt a heat on his back and a movement from under his pillow.
But he was too scared to look away from the door as he hears again, just outside the frame, the wail of,
"Where's my golden arm?
Where's my golden arm?"
It felt like hellfire on his back as he felt the hot metal of the hand on his neck, seemingly crawling on its own as he watches the doorknob turn.
You want me to say? Okay. The maid found his body that morning, face frozen in horror, and hair a bright white, hands still clutching the sheets around his body. But the strangest thing was that his dead wife's golden arm was on his chest, hand wrapped tightly around his throat.
Nice.
Golden arm.
All right, this next one is called The Scariest Thing I Ever Heard when I was 7. From Reddit user Shadow125. I remember one that my Cub Scouts leader told us on a camp out when I was probably 7. It took place during pioneer times. A man and his wife traveled west in hopes of either striking it rich with gold, or at worst finding a nice plot of land to settle down on a farm, manifest destiny and whatnot. A few months into their journey, they come across just the spot, a beautiful plot of land to make their new home. Winter would be coming in a couple months, so they built a hasty shack and they figured to hunker down there, hunker down there for the winter, and build a more established home in a few months when the weather is more permitting. They don't worry, as the area is teeming with wildlife for hunting and trapping, so they figure they'll be set for food. A couple of months go by and the winter is bitter cold and unrelenting. They finished off the last of their food stash.
Bruh, you girl. And they haven't seen so much as a squirrel in weeks. They're both slowly starving and freezing to death as they huddle in their shack, day after day with no end in sight. The man's wife is delirious with hunger, fearing that they will soon be dead. He decides to go for a hunt. He musters the energy to bundle up and heads out, determined to stay out as long as it takes to find them both some food.
He waits until they're all out of food and delirious with hunger before he starts hunting. This is not the guy you want to be homesteading with in the wilderness in winter. Just saying.
Yeah.
A couple of days pass as the man takes shelter under impromptu stick shelters, keeping warm with a campfire in the nighttime and hunting in the daytime. Nearly frozen to death, mercifully the man spots a beautifully plump rabbit several yards away. He takes aim with his musket and bang! It's a perfect shot. With a newfound energy, the man runs home, giddy to finally feast with his wife.
What he doesn't know is that while he was gone, his wife had discovered some tasty flesh of her own. Literally. The hunger had driven her insane, causing her to believe that her now frostbitten fingertips were ladyfinger cookies.
What?
She started off with a few nibbles here and there, slowly pulling the flesh away from her bones. After just a couple of hours, both hands were nothing but bone. This is so relatable. It's giving me chills.
Eating your own hand flesh is relatable.
So she worked her way up her arms to the elbow. The feeling of something in her stomach just continued to drive her further, until she had chewed away at every last bit of skin she could reach, culminating in her chewing of her own lips.
She chewed her own lips off? What? All right. The husband approaches the shack with his now frozen dead rabbit. So Daisy's eating her shoulder over here. All right. Let's move on. Okay, sorry. People can't tell what it's supposed to be as a sound in the background.
Yeah, you could just say that and then you move on.
Okay.
Without saying,
sure.
Let's move on.
Okay, sorry. All right. The husband approaches the shack with his now frozen dead rabbit when he gets an uneasy feeling. Fearing the worst, he steps up to the door and slowly opens it, expecting to see his wife's corpse shriveled on the floor. But instead, what he finds is even worse. The zombie-like creature with exposed teeth and bones writhing on the floor at the sight of him, chomping its jaws with insatiable hunger.
Aw, hell. At that point, one of the scouts screeched for the leader to stop, which I was extremely thankful for, as it was easily the most terrifying thing I had ever heard at the age of 7. The scout leader told it with real conviction, too. Honestly, still gives me the creeps if I go camping and happen to think about it sitting around a fire.
Hungry zombie wife.
Damn! That was just crazy.
Nice. All right.
Now we got a joke for you guys. It's like kind of a joke, but it's also kind of scary.
It's kind of a creepy story, and it's also kind of a joke.
It's really just kind of murdery.
Yeah, it is. Kind of creepy, kind of a joke. That's
really, really kind of murdery.
That's right.
There was a Brit who was driving through Ireland as the weather got progressively worse and day soon turned to night. He suddenly realized that he was on the wrong road, but there was nowhere to turn around. So he pressed on, barely able to see the road through the rain.
You know what you pressed on? Your fingernails.
These nuts.
Hey-oh, dang.
Without warning, his car just died. No battery, no engine. He assumed water must have shorted something, and he'd best start walking. He was soaking wet in 100 yards, but he continued walking. An hour later... Wait, just a moment. He left his car behind? Girl, are you stupid?
Yeah.
This guy's very stupid. Just keep listening to the story, man. An hour later, he heard a noise behind him and turned to see a car coming very slowly up the road behind him, its lights very dim. As it reaches him, he reaches out through the torrential rain and opens the back door and jumps in. Shocked, he is the only person in the car.
What the hell is going on?
There's no one driving and no other passengers. He freezes with fear as the car slowly continues up the road through the pouring rain. Before long, a village comes into view and the car creeps silently and slowly into the village. The Brit spies a pub, so he jumps out and runs inside, not looking back. Panting with horror, he orders a beer and sits down. A minute later, 2 soaking wet Irishmen come into the pub. The taller one points at the Brit and says, "That's him, Paddy." I'm not doing it.
That's him, Paddy. That's the bastard I saw jump out of the car we were pushing. 1, 2, 3. That's him, Paddy. That's the bastard I saw jump out of the car we were pushing.
That's him, Paddy. That's the bastard.
Yeah, you're doing great. Do it again. Just do it again.
That's it.
Oh.
That's all I'm doing.
Okay.
Oh my god, it hurts.
Well, this has been Campfire Stories with Daisy and Zevon.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, it has been. This was the best day of your life, y'all. I know. Scream.
It was until you just shattered their eardrums with that scream.
I'm gonna kill my mom.
Okay, let's stop. Let's not do that. I'm gonna kill my mom and can't leave that. I know, but I know from like what?
TikTok.
Right.
Girl.
You're not even supposed to be on TikTok till you're 13.
Oh, my bad.
Not just legally, like brain development wise. Anyway, mostly a lot of old people listen to my show. They won't have any idea that it's funny because it's from TikTok. I'm leaving all this on in the show, by the way.
Okay.
All right. For Daisy Odelberg, I'm Zevon Odelberg, and this has been...
I need to change my clothes. It's too hot in this room.
And this has been...
Kinda Murdery.
Perfect.